What if I told you that you don't need 10,000 words to speak English? What if I told you that you don't even need 2,000 words? The truth is, you only need a much smaller number of words to start speaking with confidence. Many people think English is difficult because they try to learn everything at once. But the secret is much simpler. Today, I am going to share that number with you. It is 521 words. Yes, only 521 words. And by the end of this video, you will understand why these words can help you start speaking English more naturally. I know what you are thinking right now. That words is too small. That sounds impossible. You have spent years learning new words, writing them in notebooks, memorizing long lists, and using apps that promise to teach you thousands of words in a short time. But the truth is, the number of words was never the biggest problem. The real problem was that nobody showed you which words are actually important for real conversations. You don't need to know every word in English. You need to know the right words and how to use them. And today, that is going to change. Let me explain something that many English teachers don't explain clearly. Language does not work like a dictionary. When you open a dictionary, every word looks equally important. Every word has its own place, sitting in alphabetical order, looking just as important as the next one. But real English is different. In everyday conversations, at work, with friends, on phone calls, or while shopping, a small group of words is used again and again. Thousands of other words are rarely used. Speaking English is not about learning every single word. It is about learning the right words, practicing them, and making them a natural part of your speaking. Think about your own native language for a moment. How many different words did you actually use yesterday? Not how many words you know, but how many you really used. If you think about it honestly, the number is probably much smaller than you imagine. You used the same common words, the same action words, and the same simple phrases again and again. You didn't need your entire vocabulary to get through your day. You only needed a small group of familiar words that you could use quickly and naturally. English works the same way. You don't need everything. You need a strong core of useful words, and that core is much smaller than you have ever imagined. So where does the number 521 actually come from? After looking at many learners, listening to real conversations, and seeing what helps people improve, one thing becomes very clear. The people who become comfortable speaking English are not always the ones with the biggest vocabulary. They are the ones who truly understand and use a small group of important words again and again. Words for actions, feelings, time, and connecting ideas. When you learn these 521 words deeply and learn how to combine them in different ways, they can help you handle many everyday conversations with more confidence. I want you to imagine a kitchen for a moment. A great cook does not need thousands of ingredients to make amazing food. They only need a small group of important ingredients. Things like salt, oil, garlic, and a few special spices. The real magic comes from knowing how to mix those ingredients in different ways to create many different dishes. The ingredients stay simple, but the combinations create something new every time. Learning English works the same way. Your 521 words are your ingredients. The more you practice using them together, the more sentences and conversations you can create. The real skill is not knowing thousands of words. It is knowing how to use the words you already have. Here is something that might surprise you. A simple word like go can create many different sentences when you use it in different ways. You can say, I go, I went, I am going, I will go, I want to go, I have to go, I should go. Did you go? Or where did you go? One small word can open many different possibilities. Now imagine this happening with 521 words instead of just one. The power comes from learning how to combine words, not just collecting more and more words. That is why someone with 500 words they practice every day can often speak more confidently than someone who knows 5,000 words but rarely uses them. Let me tell you why this matters so much for you. If you have spent years learning new words, writing them down, and trying to memorize more vocabulary, but you still feel stuck when speaking English, there is something you need to understand. The problem is not that you don't know enough words. The problem is that your words are not connected deeply in your mind. You know many words, but you are not comfortable using them in real conversations. What you need is not a bigger vocabulary. You need a stronger connection with the words you already know. Focus on depth, not just width. Master fewer words, use them better, and make them a natural part of your speaking. Over the next few videos in this series, I am going to show you exactly what these 521 words are. We will break them into simple and useful groups: words for daily life, feelings, opinions, questions, answers, and words that help you connect your ideas clearly. But we will not just memorize them. I will show you how to combine these words and use them in different ways, just like a cook uses simple ingredients to create many different dishes. With the right practice, a small vocabulary can help you create a much bigger world of real, natural English. But before we go further, I want to ask you something honestly. How much time have you spent learning words that you have never actually used in a real conversation? Maybe difficult academic words, rare words, or words you found in a book but never used in your daily life. I am not saying that your effort was useless. Every step you took helped you learn something. But now, we are going to choose a different way, a simpler way. A way where you focus on words that help you every single day. Words you can actually use, speak, and remember. Instead of words that just stay inside a notebook and wait for a chance that may never come. Let me introduce you to someone whose story shows exactly what I mean. A woman named Meher worked in a small clothing shop in a busy market. She never finished advanced studies, never joined a formal English class, and never spent years studying grammar books. But many foreign tourists visited her market, and somehow Meher could communicate with almost all of them. She could show prices, explain colors, talk about sizes, make simple deals, and even laugh and enjoy conversations with them. Her English was not perfect, it was not advanced, but it was useful, natural, and confident. Why? Because every word she knew, she used again and again in real situations until those words became a part of her. They were not just words she remembered, they became words she owned. Nobody ever sat down with Meher and gave her a list of 521 words to memorize. She created her own vocabulary naturally, through daily life, real conversations, and using the same useful words again and again. She learned because she needed those words. That is exactly what I want to help you do, but in a faster and more organized way. Instead of spending years discovering these important words by accident, I want to show them to you clearly, step by step. You can start building your own practical English vocabulary today and use words that actually help you in real conversations. Let's talk about one important group inside these 521 words, connector words. These are small words like and, but, because, so, if, when, and although. Many learners ignore them because they seem too simple and too easy. But these small words have a big job. They help you connect your ideas and make your English sound smoother and more natural. For example, I am tired. I want to rest. These are two separate thoughts. But when you say, I am tired, so I want to rest, the sentence feels connected and complete. The words are simple, but the connection makes the difference. That is how real conversations work. Good speaking is not only about knowing words, it is about knowing how to connect them. Here is a simple practice you can try today using only connector words. Take 2 easy sentences that you already know how to say. For example, I like tea and I don't like coffee. Now connect them. I like tea, but I don't like coffee. Try another example. I went to work and I was tired. You can connect them by saying, I went to work because I needed money, or I went to work although I was tired. Notice something important. You did not learn any new words in this practice. You only learned how to connect the words you already know. This is the secret that makes a small vocabulary become much more powerful. Now let's talk about another important category, feeling words. Words like tired, happy, worried, confused, excited, nervous, disappointed, and relieved. These words may look simple, and many learners think they are not important enough to study. But think about your daily conversations. How often do people talk about feelings? Someone asks, "How was your day?" And you answer, "I was really tired." Someone asks, "How do you feel about your new job?" And you say, "I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited too." Feelings are a big part of human conversations. We use these words again and again to share our experiences and connect with others. But many vocabulary lists spend more time teaching rare words and uncommon terms while ignoring the simple words that make conversations feel real. I want to give you something practical you can try right now. Choose 3 feeling words you already know in English. Maybe happy, tired, and worried. For the next 3 days, find real moments in your life where you can use these words. Do not create examples from a textbook. Use your real feelings in real situations. For example, say, "I am tired right now because I woke up early." Or, "I feel worried about tomorrow's meeting." Say these sentences out loud, even if you are alone. This is how a word becomes part of your speaking. It moves from your memory into your mouth and slowly becomes something you can use naturally without thinking too much. Let's talk about something I call the multiplier effect, because this might be one of the most important ideas in this entire video. A single word can become much more powerful when you learn how to use it in different ways. Take the simple word want. You can say, "I want." "I wanted." "I don't want." "Do you want?" "I want to go." "I want you to understand." "I really want this." "I don't really want that." One small word can help you express many different ideas in many different situations. This is the multiplier effect. And this is why learning 521 useful words deeply can be more powerful than learning thousands of words that you rarely use. I want to talk about something directly because many of you might have this question in your mind. You might be thinking, but what if I need a word I don't know? What if I am in a conversation and I need a specific word outside these 521 words? Here is the truth. You don't always need the exact word. You can explain the idea using the words you already know. For example, if you forget the word umbrella, you can say, "The thing you use when it rains to stay dry." If you don't know the word exhausted, you can say, "Very, very tired." This skill of explaining around a missing word is something even fluent speakers do. It is not a weakness. It is a powerful communication skill that helps you keep the conversation going. Let me tell you something that might completely change the way you think about fluent English speakers. The people you admire, the ones who sound smooth, natural, and confident, are not using difficult words all the time. In everyday conversations, they use simple words again and again. Listen carefully when you watch interviews or casual conversations in English. You will notice something interesting. Even highly educated speakers use words like get, think, stuff, good, really, and kind of all the time. Fluency is not about trying to sound complicated or using big words. Fluency is about using simple words in a clear, natural, and confident way. So here is where we are now. You understand that